All three of you, or some more.
The room is pretty full for Sunday morning. Incredible. And there's more people coming in. Yeah. So what did you all do last night? Did you go out? Did you see anything?
We went crazy.
We had dinner.
Very nice, quiet dinner.
We all had dinner in the same
people.
place, but we didn't know it. I saw Kandyse, Ships in the Night, and I was having dinner with Jamie Murray at another table.
So you were there, which I was bummed about, because I haven't seen Lucy in so long.
Pardon?
I haven't seen you in so long.
I know, since set, actually.
Well, okay, we won't count how many years that is.
Yeah.
That was big fun. There were some great costumes out last night. You guys partied. Is it still Saturday night for anybody in here? Oh, there you go. Back in the back. I love it. Champions. Aaron Douglas would be proud of you. All right, well, we have a question over here. Oh, Saturday night's got a question.
This is for Lucy, since this is your first time here. I saw you at your first panel, and now that you've had a chance to get out there and experience a little bit, I was wondering what of the Dragon nightlife you did experience and what you thought of it.
I know. It's quite hard for us to understand everything. I got it. I am so in love with the density of kookiness. People think that Comic-Con's crazy, but it's watered down by all sorts of network corporate business, you know what I mean? And I love that this is where it's at, and the questions are much more intricate, and somehow it's a kind of gentler environment, and I don't know why that is, but it is. And I'm totally curious about the parties, because Bruce Campbell and Ted Raimi have been telling me some stories, and I want to know if it's true.
Yeah.
Yes. They had to drain the pool at the hotel because there were too many naked people in it the night before. What up? Like furry, there's like ears and tails and things at the bottom of the pool, fishing them out. Wow. I'm a little curious about the furry parties. Well, look forward to an invite. No, I think it was last night, there was no invite. I think that's going to change.
Next question.
The anticipation is killing us.
This is a question from Mr. Olmos. I was a big fan of Battlestar Galactica, and I was curious about you as an actor. Like, how did you prepare for such a role that's so pivotal to the show as Admiral Dama? Like, how you brought such gravitas to the part, and I want to know what inspired you and kind of what led you to act the way you did with that character.
Basically, it's a story. And then it's the writing of the story, because we can only do what's really written on the page. We can expound on it, improvise on it after we understand which way we're going. But if I was to say anything that prepared me, was the first script that I ever read by Ron Moore. It was monumental, or else I wouldn't have done the show. It really changed my whole perspective, because remember, we were coming out of 9/11. And it had only been maybe 14 months, 13 months since that had happened. So everybody's whole way of thinking had changed. And when you read what he was talking about with that perspective, all of a sudden the story became something that was much stronger. And if you remember the pilot, it was pretty intense, you know, and the silence were really radical. And we were faced with an incredible amount of radicalness in our real everyday life. Our whole system changed. And then for me to prepare for the character, the first thing I needed to do as soon as I read the thing was to find him. And I usually do that by music. So, of course, Bear wasn't around yet, or anybody like that. So we didn't know, nobody knew where the music was going to go. And I was very fortunate. Man, just talk about stroke of the gods of, you know, the lords of Kobol. They took me to a very interesting little record shop. It wasn't even a record shop. It was like an old hippie store, you know, with all the mints and all the incenses and all the little, you know, the dream catchers and, you know, a lot of the euphoric music of today and world music, a lot of world music. And I walked in there and it was just a small little place and I didn't know where to start. And I walked in and I was walking around wondering what, because I don't know that music really well. And I said, I mean, this is, you know, sometime in the future, right? Little did we know, okay, for those of us that really do, this is a game changer, guys. So if you haven't seen the series, do it, all right? I'm the one that really complained. Like about the 4th or 5th day, she goes, "Can we change the music?" I go, "No. It's my music, it's Adama's music." And she goes, "I like it, but, you know, can we trust?" I said, "No, we can't. You don't understand. We're about to go on front of camera into a space where you need to be totally focused and understanding of what you're doing." So, and I was really radical. I mean, I did not let them change the music. Lo and behold, we're doing this, now we start into the production. Of course, we do the So Say We All, which was the very first thing that we did as a group. The first scene that we did were little scenes, the very first, at the beginning of the day, it was between Baltar and Six. They did some scenes individually and together. And then right after lunch, we did the big So Say We All scene. And that was like the first time we were all together standing in front of the camera together as a family. And so we had to get it together. And then I said, wow, this is really going to be hard. So of course I was playing the music. And we cut and we went through the whole thing of the So Say We All thing. And everybody went nuts and the producers went crazy. They said, "Oh my God." And people were screaming on the set. It really moved all of us and moved us all to a point of what moved you to tears. It was very, very emotional. And it was the very first scene we were doing. On the death scene, what's your name?
The priestess.
Yeah, she sings it. Yeah, she sings it. Yeah, she ends up singing the song, one of her songs, one of the old mantras. She sings it, and we all sing it with her. And so we used that. So you asked me the question, I gave it a very long one. I start with music, and I start with the script. So there you go.
I guess Diva's getting an invite to the next DragonCon.
She's been extraordinary.
Good morning, all. So I will admit that I was reluctant to sample the show in the beginning because Battlestar Galactica had such a campy connotation to me from the original series. But once I did, I realized how smart and sophisticated it was. And I got hooked in, and I try to tell everyone that I know that they should look beyond maybe their preconceptions about sci-fi because it's such a smart show. Now, I look at what the SYFY network is putting on.
The SYFY?
Yeah, I don't want to say sci-fi
because it's not?
Yeah, it's changed. So, you know, the Shark of the Week show. And I sort of wonder, you are all such a part of such a great, as I said, sophisticated, smart, dark, culturally relevant show. And do you think there's room for that on TV anymore? Is there an audience for smart sci-fi? And what do you think the legacy of your show is in terms of influence on shows to come?
Oh, they need it like never before, I think. You know, with privacy issues, and I mean, it's that whole 1984. Not to be paranoid about it, but those themes are very prevalent, aren't they? So I think it's time for something really probing.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think that what happened, we discussed this yesterday a little bit. How many were here yesterday? Okay, we discussed a little bit of this yesterday. and this became a really strong issue. What happened with Battlestar Galactica is the same thing that happened with Blade Runner. Once Blade Runner came, no one really accepted Blade Runner at the very beginning. The sci-fi people did, but the rest of the public, the real, hey, let's go see our movies, public that was wanting to see Harrison Ford, who had made Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then Star Wars 2, what was it? Yes. He had done those 3 movies back to back. And so his 4th movie was Blade Runner. And in Blade Runner, he was not the resounding hero. He was getting his ass kicked every time he turned the corner by a replicant. I mean, they were just kicking the hell out of him. The women were kicking the hell out of him, and he would beat them, but he was getting beat up every time he turned around. Even in the final moments, he was saved by a replicant. So they didn't accept that movie. The audiences, the Harrison Ford audiences hated it. So it kind of went away very quickly. And then it got no acclamation in the United States of America. Then it came back after 4, 5, 6 years. All of a sudden it started to filter back. And now today, 30 plus years later, it's become one of the most prestigious and most extraordinary pieces of work. But it did set the tone from the beginning of what was about to happen to sci-fi. And from that moment on, things just changed. He had done Alien, which was an extraordinary piece of work, and then Blade Runner had just taken it to the highest level. And so Battlestar has done the same thing for television and for storytelling. Now, we discussed how television changed after 2003, after Battlestar came out. It changed the course of Dark Knight, and all the Batman went very dark, very real. Everything started to go dark and real. Everything. From 2003 on, you start looking at it, Superman went dark and real.
Yeah.
Everything just boom. It had that, and because of Battlestar. And I think today, leave it up to Richard Hatch and Glenn Larson, this place will never die. It'll go on being the most prolific story ever told, and Glenn deserves it. I think he really does. I think you created a world that, of course, was reimagined, but boy, what a world it is. It's an extraordinary experience of understanding technology and the human species. Singularity is coming very quickly. All you have to do is go read Kurzweil's book, Singularity is Near, and you'll find that we're very close to being one with machines. There's not a person in here that doesn't have a machine with them. There's not a person in here that isn't 1,000 times smarter than you would be without that machine. I mean, when I Google, I feel smart. 1492. I'm not kidding you. I can recite the entire Declaration of Independence. Shit, I can read the Bible.
Or have it read by Siri.
Yeah. So you asked about the impact and if sci-fi will, move forward. And of course, I mean, sci-fi will never be the same after Blade Runner. Sci-fi will never be the same after Battlestar Galactica, the reimagined episodes that were done by Ron Moore and David Icke. This is something that will change, that has changed the course of the future of the art form. And
Every day at work. Really, so he's not just saying this now in retrospect. He was grateful and joyful and set the tone for the entire production, right, Kandyse?
Yes, absolutely. I think you told us the very first cast read-through that we all had together. I remember you standing up and saying, listen, this is the best piece of work I've done in a really long time. This will be the best piece of work I've ever done. And this is going to be a long road, so keep your energy up and stay strong, because we're in this for the long haul. And we're all like, sweet.
And then we got Lindsay, and we all went through, Lucy and me, and we all went through the world. I tell you right now, this woman, when she came on the set, completely changed the course we were going on. Because Lucy had a reputation, and she was strong. But
I walked into so much expectation and not all of it good. And I was like, okay, bring it.
She knocked it out of the park and made everybody to go, whoa, my God. I got to tell you, the very first day that I saw you work was monumental because it was right off the bat she was kicking ass. Like the moment she walked on, and I said, boy, oh boy. Now, we had been working for a few episodes. So, when Lucy came on and started to do this, she was like catching up. Kate Vernon had the same experience. She came in on episode 9. You came in on episode what?
I don't know. I thought I was like in season 2. Late. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was just coming in for a few eps. And,
yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
A few episodes.
Anyway, it was an amazing experience.
I just remember you having so much fun. I remember doing a scene with you in the hallway, and I was like, wow, she's really... Hold on.
Goof off as much as possible. Can you believe that people pay you to do this? To hang out, and they feed you even. Not many jobs actually feed you. They do really well to lunch. Are you kidding me? It's incredible.
We had great food.
Next.
Mr. Olmos, you were fantastic in the Portlandia. You get more beautiful every year. Sometimes I really think you are a Cylon.
He's got a mummy complex.
I hope we get to see you more on Parks and Rec this season too. Parks and Rec.
Oh, thank you, darling.
My question though is about the trick ending of Battlestar. When did you learn in the process about the trick ending, and what are your thoughts about it?
I don't know. Darling, ask that again, and who are you talking to?
I'm talking to everyone. The trick ending, when did you learn about the trick ending? How far in the process?
The trick ending.
Of the series, as we
were sitting on the beach, they're going, okay, Lucy, sit down, you're not going anywhere. Were they quite secretive about it?
Oh yeah, season 4, everything was really tight with. Yeah. I mean, I didn't.
Yeah, we didn't know anything until, we got the script. So, if you're saying, did we know about it? Or we didn't? No, not until we read it. The way you guys got the show, in other words, you sat down and said, okay, let's see what they did. Boom, and you saw the whole story unravel itself. Well, that's how we got it. We sat down and read it.
Yeah.
And so we would sit there and go, okay, you ready? Here we go. And they would pass out the scripts when we got there. So we'd sit there and go, okay, see who's dead today.
That's right. I remember now.
Every
Skip to the end.
And we would look at each other because they would tell us that we were going to die only a few days, if anything, before you were going to read it in the script. So, I mean, how long did you have before you found out?
Well, accidentally, 4 or 5 days.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, I
Ron
mean,
called me a week later.
So they didn't tell you, in other words.
They didn't tell me, no.
Oh, God.
Gerald Hair and Makeup told me.
That's the first person that we see in the morning. We go into the hair and makeup trailer and we go, oh gosh, it's so sad that you died.
He did. He was like, oh, hon, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm like, what? What happened? He was like,
Oh. How did he know? Why did they know?
because he handed me the production draft and he was like, you should read this.
I walked in, she was heaving sobs.
And I did the same thing you did. I was reading the beginning of the script and I was like, no, this is good. This is great. Maybe he was telling me that I was going to be a Cylon or I got a better part or something cool was going to happen. No, this is awesome. She goes on a date. I get to wear a dress. I love this. Oh. Flesh wound? No.
was
funny.
intense. So the ending, the very, very ending of the show, we talked about this yesterday a little bit, but the ending of the show, we knew nothing about how it was going to end. Not a clue under the sun did we know how they were going to wrap this whole thing together. And Ron had kept it really close to his vest. You know, we had no idea that we landed here 200,000 years ago. You know, it was us that created you. And if you don't believe me, at the end of Battlestar Galactica, put in Blade Runner. Whack! Because the final scene of Battlestar is Six and Baltar walking downtown Times Square saying, Baltar saying this is happening before, it's going to happen again. And then, Six says that. And then Baltar says, I don't know, I think this time humanity has learned. And then it goes to black. And if you put in Blade Runner, it's 2019. That's in 2008 when they said that. Then you put in the Blade Runner, it's 2019, and lo and behold, they're the replicants, and we're off. It's worse than before. But the key to the genetic structure of the 200,000 years before is in Gaff, my character. My character is Adama, comes here 200,000 years ago, and then breeds with all these different indigenous humans. And finally, 200,000 years later, out comes Gaff. Got them that time.
I want to be that. I was wondering which one was your favorite, maybe the most challenging to work on, and where you see strong women roles going in media today. Do you think
that's like picking between your children. They were my favorites for different reasons. Deanna, because it was cerebrally very challenging to try to keep up with everything going on and to keep her so contained. Xena was the most fun, and Lucretia was the most emotionally demanding. Yeah. I'm sorry, did I answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could also ask about women's roles in the future.
Well, women's roles in the future. Well, I hope there's going to be a lot of them, especially for older women. It is changing, actually. There's a lot more older women. I hope you find this comforting for the far future.
I do, actually, yeah.
Yeah. You see a lot of older actresses with very strong, engaging, sexy, demanding roles. And the way that they always wrote Xena, that I don't know about on Battlestar, well, yes, Battlestar as well. If you look at Katie Sackhoff's role in particular, you write for a woman hero as you write for a man.
Right.
And that's the mistake that some writers might make in trying to make a strong woman. You just write it like a man. Sadly, that's the X factor. I don't know what the future brings, but I think sci-fi is. I mean, the future's here, isn't it? So all the sci-fi things are pressing issues today, where it's about computers as prosthesis, whether it's the privacy and cyber spying, cyber attack, climate change, Soylent Green. The future is here. So, yeah.
I think there are a lot more female writers as well, and it's a greater understanding of, exactly as Lucy said, that strength in a woman does not equate to being like a man. That there's...
He could keep us all satisfied. He just went like a train. I don't know, I'd always want to be if being in the cockpit was real, that's where I'd want to be. You want to be Starbuck, right? Well, I couldn't say Starbuck, come on.
Question.
Hi, thank you all for being here. I just discovered the show a few weeks ago and I flew through it. It was incredible. Thank you so much. one of the things that I really appreciate about it is that these characters are facing a very real external threat to their survival, both humans and Cylons alike. And because of that fact, it makes it that much harder for them to deal with their own personal demons. So what I was wondering was, for each of you, did you find any personal conflicts for your character particularly rewarding as an actor?
Personal conflict, sorry, in real life or?
No.
Oh, no, personal conflicts for your character. Any of their relationships or their history, any...
Oh, I've often talked about mine because I came on the set and there had been some rumor that I was getting crazy money and blah, blah, blah. I don't know, you guys weren't part of this. But I had heard about it and I certainly wasn't getting crazy money. Or I wasn't a threat. I knew I was just coming in for a few episodes. I wasn't replacing anybody or anything. And I sort of found it kind of amusing and decided to razz them a little bit. And, I'm a terrible razzer. So, and then eventually I decided it's not a good idea to razz nervous people because then they just really hate you. And you kind of deserve it. But we got through it, and in fact, Aaron Douglas became a good friend.
He does that though. He sort of starts out grumpy and then
He
he's
starts
like
out
the best
so
guy
grumpy.
ever.
He called me tough girl, and so I was like, I wasn't trying to be tough. But anyway, we went out to concerts and all sorts of things, so it was all cool after a while, yeah.
I think personally,
You know what I mean?
set
When
you
I
up.
came into that set and there was so much kind of mistrust, that's totally the plot, right? Yeah. Those SOBs, Eddie. Oh, they definitely set you up. They set me up because I come into this world of mistrust and it's like, Jesus, yeah, I didn't think I'd been that bad a girl. Where did I get this reputation? And I just went, well, screw you. And nurtured it. And that was the character and the situation. Do you put that past them?
No, I don't, but that's exactly what they did.
Oh my God, I done been played. The mind of Ron Moore is a vast and complex
Son of a...
God.
Next question, thank you.
I have a much lighter question for you, and that is, for each of you, what's your favorite and least favorite sets to work with during the show?
Space.
Oh, the actual physical sets?
Yeah, space sucks, man. Don't go. I went on that set. It's so dark. There is nothing comfortable to sit on except in your bedroom, and we didn't get in there much. It is. There's nothing green. There's nothing organic. It sucks.
Very little plant life. Now, the set.
He could keep us all satisfied. He just went like a train. I don't know. I'd always want to be in. If being in the cockpit was real, that's where I'd want to be. You want to be Starbuck, right? Why couldn't you say Starbuck? Come on.
Question.
Hi, thank you all for being here. I just discovered the show a few weeks ago and I flew through it. It was incredible. Thank you so much. One of the things that I really appreciate about it is that these characters are facing a very real external threat to their survival, both humans and Cylons alike. And because of that fact, it makes it that much harder for them to deal with their own personal demons. So what I was wondering was, for each of you, did you find any personal conflicts for your character particularly rewarding as an actor?
Personal conflict, sorry, in real life or?
No.
Oh, no, personal conflicts for your character. Any of their relationships or their history, any...
Oh, I've often talked about mine because I came on the set and there had been some rumor that I was getting crazy money and blah, blah, blah. I don't know, you guys weren't part of this. But I had heard about it and I certainly wasn't getting crazy money. Or I wasn't a threat. I knew I was just coming in for a few episodes. I wasn't replacing anybody or anything. And I sort of found it kind of amusing and decided to razz them a little bit. And, I'm a terrible razzer. So, and then eventually I decided it's not a good idea to razz nervous people because then they just really hate you. And you kind of deserve it. But we got through it, and in fact, Aaron Douglas became a good friend.
He does that though. He sort of starts out grumpy and then
He
he's
starts
like
out
the best
so
guy
grumpy.
ever.
He called me tough girl, and so I was like, I'm not trying to be tough. But anyway, we went out to concerts and all sorts of things, so it was all cool after a while, yeah.
I think personally,
so good was it had a great plot, but it was the relationships between the characters and the way they were portrayed on screen that just made this transcendent for me. And so my question is, when you guys had a little bit of freedom to make your choices in how you portrayed your characters, were there any choices that you thought were a little controversial but came off really well? Or any choices that you made that you kind of wish you could do differently?
well, my not being with Billy, well, that didn't work out well for a lot of people.
You know what I mean? When I came into that set and there was so much kind of mistrust, that's totally the plot, right? Yeah. Those SOBs, Eddie.
Oh, they definitely set you up.
They set me up because I come into this world of mistrust and it's like, Jesus, yeah, I don't think I've been that bad a girl. Where did I get this reputation? And I just went, well, screw you. And nurtured it. And that was the character and the situation. Do you put that past them?
No, I don't put it. That's exactly what they did.
Oh my God, I done been played.
The mind of Ron Moore is a vast and complex
Son of a... Yeah.
Next question, thank you.
I have a much lighter question for you, and that is, for each of you, what's your favorite and least favorite sets to work with during the show?
Space.
Oh, the actual physical sets?
Yeah, space sucks, man. Don't go. I went on that set. It's so dark. There's nothing comfortable to sit on except in your bedroom, and we didn't get in there much. It is. There's nothing green. There's nothing organic. It sucks.
Very little plant life. Now, it will take the female to write for the female, though.
Yeah.
There's no two ways around it. The writers, the producers, the directors have to become stronger in the respects of the art form, and they already are, and that's what's changing everything. They will, women will write incredible stories, and they're coming stronger and stronger every day. That's what's going to change it. It's just that, people are going to enjoy those stories, so it's going to change, just like people of ethnicity, people of color will be put forth in front of the camera, leading the show. And, yeah, it's been a long time coming.
Okay, we have a special request from one of the staffers on one of the tracks, and I'm going to turn it over to April.
I'm a big fan of everybody. This one is addressed to Miss Lawless. In 1998, I had a massive heart attack and died. I was brought back. The doctor said I shouldn't have survived, that I was a fighter. I said, no, I'm a warrior. Xena Warrior Princess helped save my life. Your acting, the strong role, helped save my life, and I wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
I've got a short little note here, if somebody can give it to you, that tells a little bit more, but from the bottom of my broken, stented heart, thank you for everything you do and all the strength that you have given me.
Wow, I think you took strength, lady.
Go ahead.
Scene would it have been, or would it, and why, or just that. Thanks.
I'll answer that first. The XO when he makes love with 6. When Hogan saw that script, I think he cried. I can't tell you, he was the happiest camper in Vancouver. I'm not kidding you, man. That guy was in nirvana. The whole show changed for him. He hated being a Cylon. He really did. I've never seen anybody. The chief went through a little bit of a change, but not much. He just drank a little less. But but I will say that the XO could not grasp it. He went into his trailer and went nuts. I mean, he really hated the whole conceptual understanding that he was a Cylon. He just, and he played it that way. You saw it in his character. He fought it, and he was angry, and constantly. I'm not a Cylon. You are. And it was really pathetic until he loved. And he was a real Cylon. So yeah, that's who I'd like to play.
Hilarious.
Made it easy, because it wasn't like the scripty going, bang! Closer, no, I just watched it.
It was amazing. And the technology that was on the set was amazing. So I would have to say that the CIC was truly the gift.
Yeah.
That space was amazing. And then at the very first, during the very pilot, the very beginning, we were at a different studio, and the stages were connected. So they were like this size, maybe they were bigger than this room.
Bigger, yeah.
And you know how you can open this up, and then there's another one of these rooms right here. And if you open that up, there's another one of those rooms. So that that's what they did. They opened up everything, and they put the entire Galactica on one set.
You can walk through the ship.
Yeah, when you walk through the ship, you'd get lost.
Literally lost.
When we hit another stage, once the series started, they split us. They split the two capsules. They split the whole ship apart. So you couldn't do that anymore. The first scene that you ever saw when Starbuck is running through the ship, and she's running and seeing everybody, and it's about an 8-minute segment at the very beginning, and she hits everybody. You see everyone. You see me, and you see Ty sitting there drunk against the wall. And she sees all the different people, but that set was the most magnificent set I've ever been on, because you were in it, and boy, the detail you talked about, the devil being in the detail. Boy, oh boy, this guy Richard did an extraordinary job of set production. Production design. It was just amazing, and that to me was the key to the whole, the belief that we were really aboard this ship. Because when the camera started to roll, it really became a reality, and then everybody was documenting that reality, and it really helped the show immensely. So for me, I have to say that the feeling on board when you walked in that, but you couldn't find your way out.
Put it right close to you.
I had no sleep last night. I think you're a brilliant actor, and you made that show incredible. I mean, everyone made that show incredible, but you did. Like, you just breathed life into Admiral Dama in a way that just brought that world to life, and it was really amazing to see.
Bless your heart. I just know one thing. I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it today. Only you can prevent forest fires. So say we all. So say we all. So say we all. So say we all. So say we all.